The second his glass hit the floor, I knew the truth had finally landed. One moment, he was standing there like he owned the room. The next, everything he built was slipping right through his hands. We were under a chandelier, surrounded by powerful people, expensive smiles, and the kind of silence that only happens when a room realizes it's been looking at the wrong person all along. My husband stood beside me, frozen. Just 30 seconds earlier, he had leaned in and whispered, "Stay in the back. Your dress is embarrassing." He said it casually, like a correction, like I was something to manage, not someone to respect. But then the new owner walked in, and instead of shaking my husband's hand like everyone expected, he passed right by him, straight to me. His eyes locked on mine. His voice cracked, and in front of the entire room, he said, "I've been looking for you for 30 years. I still love you." I didn't turn to look at my husband. I didn't need to. By then, I already knew exactly what was happening, because this moment didn't come out of nowhere. It was years in the making. When I first met my husband, he was magnetic, ambitious, charming, the kind of man who made you feel like being chosen by him meant your life was about to become something bigger. And for a while, it did. We built everything together. Long nights at the kitchen table, drafting proposals, fixing contracts, polishing pitches. He had the vision, but I gave it structure. I helped shape the version of him the world learned to trust. Back then, he used to say we were a team. Then success arrived. And suddenly, we became him. The change wasn't dramatic at first. That's the thing about betrayal. It rarely announces itself. It starts quietly. A meeting you weren't told about. A phone call that ends when you walk in. A decision already made. Then the comments start. Small ones. Sharp ones. The kind designed to shrink you in public while still sounding harmless to everyone else. Bit by bit, I watched him turn disrespect into routine. By the time he told me about the gala, he didn't ask if I wanted to go. He told me what to wear. Then he laughed and said maybe I should just blend into the background. That laugh didn't break me. It woke me up. From that point on, I stopped explaining things away and started paying attention. I noticed how money was being moved, how access was changing, how certain emails disappeared, and how others didn't, because he never imagined I'd go looking. When I found the truth, I didn't cry. I documented it. Screenshots, transfers, conversations, patterns. Because anger is loud, but strategy is quiet. And quiet is where real power grows. There was one thing he never knew about me. Long before him, there was someone else. Someone I loved deeply. Someone life took in another direction before either of us had a choice. His family moved him overseas. The letters stopped. The years passed. And I buried that chapter without ever really closing it. What my husband didn't know was that the man acquiring his company, the billionaire he was so desperate to impress, was that same man. I knew before he did, because I read every line of the acquisition, every name, every shell company, every signature. And one detail stopped me cold. The handwriting. Some things, even after decades, you don't forget. I never told my husband. I let him rehearse his introduction. I let him believe he was about to impress the most important man in the room. Meanwhile, I was preparing for something very different. Weeks before the gala, I started moving carefully. I signed documents reclaiming my intellectual property. I made sure the work I had built could no longer be credited to the wrong person. I documented his misconduct, his affairs, his financial decisions, his misuse of access and influence. And I quietly made sure the board had everything they needed. No scenes, no threats, no drama, just facts delivered to the right people at the right time. Then came the dress. Simple, elegant, intentional. I chose it because years ago that man had once told me that color made me look like home. I wanted no confusion when he saw me. At the gala, my husband positioned me behind him like an accessory. Then came the insult. Stay in the back. Your dress is embarrassing. I smoothed the fabric, smiled, and waited, because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't reacting. I was ready. When the new owner entered, the room shifted instantly. People moved toward him. Conversations paused. Everyone wanted his attention. My husband stepped forward with his hand out, and that polished grin he used whenever he thought success was close enough to touch. He was completely ignored. The new owner walked past him like he wasn't even there. Then he stopped in front of me. He took my hands. His eyes filled. And he said my name like it still mattered. That's when the glass fell. That sound, sharp, sudden, unmistakable, was the exact moment my husband realized the room was no longer his. And it only got worse for him from there. Because while he was trying to understand what was happening, the consequences had already started. Board members stopped engaging with him. Security moved in his direction. His assistant wouldn't make eye contact. The people who had once circled around him began stepping back. It was all happening in real time. Not because I caused chaos, because the truth had finally reached the surface. And when he looked at me, really looked at me, I could see it. The realization, the panic, the math finally adding up. I leaned in and said, quietly, "You told me to stay in the back." "So I did." That's where the leverage was. He tried to respond. Nothing came out. There was nothing left to say. After that, everything unfolded exactly as it needed to. The divorce was clean. The patent stayed in my name. The accounts were frozen pending review. And his reputation followed the facts wherever they went. I didn't celebrate his downfall. I just stopped carrying the weight of his deception. And as for the man who found me again after 30 years, we talked. We cried. We remembered. We didn't rush anything. Because not every love story is about being rescued. Some are simply about being seen again. He didn't save me. He recognized me. And sometimes that matters even more. Now, when I think back to that night, I don't feel angry. I feel complete. Because betrayal taught me patience. Silence taught me discipline. And truth, when handled carefully, speaks louder than any outburst ever could. I didn't need to raise my voice. The room did that for me. If you've ever been underestimated, dismissed, or pushed into the background, remember this. Being quiet does not mean being powerless. Sometimes the strongest move is waiting until the truth can no longer be ignored. If this story stayed with you, like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories about betrayal, resilience, and taking your life back.